play the game with the people that writing the rules. Ain't the fame that I'm after when paying the dues. I've been through the pain that's reflected in the attitude. Might be winning now, but the thing is that I had to lose. So go and tell me what you really want to do. And lonely at the top, cause there ain't a lot of room. Ain't no other option, it's all I ever knew. So I'ma get it poppin', you know how I'ma do. I've been down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. I've been down through the blood and the sweat. And I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. Yeah, I'm going all in. And I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. Yeah. They know I'm going all in.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode on a Tuesday evening. It is your host, Niner Beto, and we got my boy Pete. What's up, Pete?
Hey, what's going on, Beto? Another day, not just another day, another dollar. We got training camp. 49ers just getting it started, so the excitement is high.
Absolutely, it is, and I'm excited to talk about training camp. Can you smell the season coming upon us? We got some great things. I hear you. Let me go ahead and acknowledge those that are in the chat. Real quick, we got 49ers Throwback in the house. What's up, 49ers Throwback? How you doing, sir? We got Jimmy in the house. What's up, Jimmy? Welcome. We got Daniel Barry Sports in the house. What's up, Daniel Barry Sports? Welcome. All right, let me get this working. Hold on. Yeah, man. So many things to talk about. I'm excited to talk about football. Somebody that we know showed up to camp today. Can we guess who that person was? Who could have been? Look who's in the chat. He got permission to come into the chat. What's up, Brandon? What's up, Dawn? How you doing, girl? My girl's in the house. How you doing? Welcome to Hello Niner family. Please do not forget to smash that Debo button and wipe your feet. Also, please do not forget to subscribe to both channels if you haven't already. Even though Brandon is not live with us today, his channel is active and live, so we are live on his channel. So make sure to hit all three channels if you can. We got Red Jet Shal in the house. How you doing, girl? Welcome. So, Pete, I'm going to talk a little bit about Brandon Ayuk, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I want to get your take, okay?
All right.
So Niners receiver Brandon Ayuk reported to camp today. NFL Network Lan Rappaport and Mike Garofolo reported that San Francisco Niners star wide receiver Brandon Ayuk will report to training camp despite not having a new contract done. It doesn't appear that anything has changed on the contract front. Ayuk recently requested a trade after it was reported that neither side has had new talks since May. How involved Ayuk will be and how many reps does he take in camp? But there's a chance that he understands the situation and bought into what the team told him, whether that's him getting paid a month from now or a year from now. And they will go about it in training camp with a business as usual mindset. It's never felt like Ayuk was going anywhere. San Francisco was always the best fit for him and vice versa. Him showing up to camp, Pete, what do you take out of this? Besides, he don't want to lose money. Him showing up, is that a good sign that maybe they're not as far as they thought, at least in communication wise, we don't know about the finances part, but at least you can tell they're communicating. What's your thought process on Ayuk showing up today, first day of camp?
I mean, I think it says the same thing that we've been kind of talking all along, is that I don't think that this is as contentious of a negotiation as people are making it out to be. I know that he requested a trade. I get it. But we were saying at the time that it happened that it felt like it was just posturing. And it's what Debo, and I know that people don't like to hear that Debo, what happened when Debo was in his contract negotiations, but that it seems par for the course that people ask, they're looking for any type of leverage that they can get. So with Ayuk being at training camp, we don't know. At first, you would think, well, does that mean he's just going to hold in instead of hold out? But Lynch made an interesting comment today at their press conference, basically saying a reporter asked him, well, is he going to practice and all that? And Lynch said, well, we expect all of our players to practice, which means to me that if he's practicing with the rest of them, then that to me, that's a great sign that they're either close to a deal or they've made an agreement. Otherwise, to wait till the end of the season, but they're at the very least, they're on the same page as to what they're the area and the direction that they're going. So I think it's a good sign. I think that the deal. I've been a proponent all along that this deal is going to get done. I think Ayuk is the future for Purdy's development, and I think he's the future of the team, realistically speaking. So I think it's a great sign.
Yeah, I am with you. I think it's a great sign as well. At least I don't know if he's going to play or participate in practice, take reps. We shall see tomorrow. Tomorrow is the actual day they start doing things. Today was just kind of going in, getting asked questions, seeing how they look, blah, 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 after the 40-day from minicamp. I'm excited that he showed up. Whether he practices tomorrow or not, at least we know he's there, and he's trying to get this done. Eventually, he's going to have to play. If he cannot get it done, he's going to have to play on that fifth-year option for $14.1 million. He's not going to lose that amount. Mm-hmm. And he wants to recruit games. He don't want to. The more he misses, if he doesn't recruit so many number of games, then he doesn't become free agent next year. He's attached to the Niners for another year. He doesn't want that. So one way or another, he'll play. The difference is he going to be happy about it with a new contract, or is he just going to pull through it this year? And, many people don't want to hear it. The Niners have all leverage. He knows it. It sucks for him as a player, I understand. But this is an organization that is trying to win games and trying to balance out the money amongst everybody within the roster. It sucks. I do believe that every player should get their money. They should get paid what they think they're worth, whether it's here or elsewhere. But the Niners also have to look at it as, okay, we know you're worth money. We know you're valuable. We need your type of play in this offense. But we also have an organization to run. It's not just Ayuk. It's the BOYZ. It's the Brock Purdy's. It's the Debo. It's the Kittle. It's the offensive line. Everybody and their mamas complains about the offensive line, how good it isn't. They need to get somebody better than McKivitz. Well, if they pay Ayuk what Ayuk wants, then you're going to be stuck with McKivitz longer than you want to, because they can't allocate money to that offensive line when they have it on players like Ayuk. Again, I'm not saying he's not worth it, Pete. He's worth the money, but the Niners have to look at it as, okay, is he the most important piece on this offense? And we can. I think we both can agree on that he isn't. He's a valuable part of this offense, but I don't think he's the number one piece in this offense. I think it's Brock as a quarterback, and in my opinion, I think after him is Christian McCaffrey. Where do you see Ayuk landing in with all the superstars that we have? What spot would you put him at as from 1 to say 5 as valuable to the team based on their needs?
For me, for their right now, currently, I think that he's going to be the number 4. I've got him 4th. Like just because you've got Brock, quarterback's always going to be number 1.
Correct.
They don't go anywhere without the quarterback. CMC is number 2. Then I've got George Kittle because I think that his blocking in the run game, it takes a noticeable drop off. The running game takes a noticeable drop off when Kittle's out of the lineup. So I feel like he's number 3, and then I've got Ayuk number 4. And the reason being is that and I mean, to be honest, that's not a slight in my opinion for Brandon Ayuk. I know people probably are thinking that Kittle is going to be on his way down, like because of age and all that kind of stuff. But he's not replaceable in my opinion. It doesn't matter what tight end they bring in; they're not going to do what Kittle does and what Kittle brings. Like you could bring another receiver in that blocks, like, but I don't see them bringing what Kittle brings. Now Ayuk, the reason why I've got him 4 is because, and I think it's splitting hairs between him and Kittle, to be honest, is he brings leadership. He brings that the blocking, like we were talking about. He brings the energy. He is Purdy's main security blanket from the wide receiver position. They scheme stuff up for Debo, but the reality is it's Ayuk is his main receiver. And going forward with Purdy's maturation, it's going to be all about Ayuk. Ayuk will be the number 1 in this system. So, I mean, and Ayuk talked about it as a 4th option. He's like, I mean, he put up the most reception yards. He put up all the numbers. Like, so I just feel like he's very, very important because it is somewhat of a passing league, and even though you can still run the ball, I still think it's somewhat of a passing league. So but anyway, I'm gonna put Ayuk at number 4. Where do you have him at?
I have him actually. Give me 1 second. Want to trade? Put that back in the freezer. All right. Sorry about that. Appreciate it, man. So I have him. I know you kind of mentioned the skill positions, right? Like the receivers and the running backs. But I want to add Trent Williams in there as well as players need it. And, it's hard. Like you said, the quarterback is the number 1 position, but you got to protect his weak side, and that's his left side. And Trent Williams comes in. So for me, it's Brock Purdy. It's Trent Williams, CMC. You got Kittle. And I agree with you. Now, Kittle is replaceable eventually, but there's nobody on the roster that can replace him now. So I'm with you. So I guess from that standpoint, he isn't replaceable. Not who we have on board now.
The offense would look completely different.
Oh, yeah, because people don't realize how important it is when he blocks, the attitude he brings to that offense, and everything that he does. So I have him. Then I have Debo or Ayuk between. So they all fall within 4 or 5 spots. So is Ayuk important? Yes. Is he valuable? Yes. Do the Niners need him to successfully try to win a Super Bowl this year? Absolutely yes. They need him. They need each other. But again, the Niners are looking at it from a financial standpoint because they're not looking about this year only. They're looking at it as next year and the year before after that. They're looking at the stretch. And so do they want to give him 30 or plus or whatever Ayuk is asking for? They would love to give it to him. Can they afford it? Yes. And I think this is where a lot of people get confused. Niner fans is, well, the Niners can't afford him. No, they can afford him. But can they afford to give him the amount of money that he wants for the position that he plays after all the names that I just mentioned? And it's the Niners are like, listen, we think we offer you 26. Now maybe we move it up. Maybe we move the needle 27, 28, or do something like you said with Debo, where it looks like he's getting a lot of money, but they break it down in incentives. They break it down in guarantees where he's happy. If they want to make it work, they'll make it work. The fact that he showed up today, to me, it's a great indication that he wants to be here. This is where he got drafted. I know that the video for Cleveland, or not Cleveland, but for the Washington Commanders and this and that, the guy is doing whatever he can to try to get some leverage on his side. And he's pulling out all the stops. But at the end of the day, he's not dumb. He understands that the Niners do hold the cards. And John Lynch was a player. People forget it sometimes that he was a player himself. He went through negotiations himself. He's been on both sides of the ball as a general manager, providing that, and as a player, asking for the amount of money. So he understands how uncomfortable and difficult this can be. I believe they'll eventually get things going. Now, if Ayuk even practices tomorrow, that's even better for us, because I do believe that no matter what, if you miss camp, you start playing from behind. We've seen it with Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa did not start playing good towards the end of the year. Debo had an off year the year that he went up for the contract. And we cannot afford that. We cannot afford Ayuk to have an off year because of this contract negotiation. We need him to be signed, sealed, and delivered. Let me ask you, and this is just your opinion, and we'll move on. And everybody in the comments can comment as well in the chat. Do you guys feel that Brandon Ayuk will be signed before next week, where the Pats come on? Or do you think it might go further? Pete, I ask you because you're my co-host, but anybody in the chat can answer the same question. Will he be signed by next week, or do you think this could drag on a little bit longer than that?
By how many weeks?
By the end of this week and the start of next week, which is Monday.
I don't think it's going to be done by then. I think it's going to be done probably. I would say it's going to be close. It's going to be close to the next 2 weeks. I'm going to say. I think it's going to be that if you look at the timeline of when they've been getting these deals done, it's a majority of them get done in that timeline. And I think they're going to want to get him in before preseason, and everything put to bed. They're focusing on the season, and I think it's going to be the next couple of weeks. Like I said, I'm really, really encouraged by the fact that he showed up to camp. I think that is huge, and I think that the message that sends to the rest of the guys on the team is huge as well. And it gave Lynch and Shanny an opportunity at the press conference to be confident in everything that they were saying to the reporters when they were being asked questions about it, which I don't think can be understated either. So it's I came away really invigorated as far as like my pick of him being re-signed sooner than later. So
interesting. Okay, real quick. So let's move on. And let's talk a little bit about our new receiver that was drafted at the bottom of the first round, Ricky Parcell. I'm going to talk about him a little bit, then I'm going to ask you some questions, Pete. Ricky Parcell will begin training camp on the NFI. NFI is when you get injured away from the team facility.
Yeah.
As you know, players like Ricky, players like Debo, players like Ayuk, they all work out during those 40 days off. They're working, they're running reps, they're working on everything they do, getting ready for training camp. And it seems that he hurt his hamstring.
Okay.
And that's what they call it. It's a hamstring. Now, John Lynch called it by blocks, meaning they said that he might miss the first block, but he might be by the second block. And I think one of the reporters asked what it was. And they said that this week, starting today until Friday, is the first block. Next Monday, which is the next week of training camp, that's the second block, and so forth. So at the very least, they see him missing until next week when the Pats come on. Let's see here. Kyle Shanahan and General Manager John Lynch spoke with the media. Some of us already seen. If you haven't, I recommend for you to see it. For the first time as the team reported to training camp. 4 players will begin on the PUP list. As we already mentioned, Ricky Parcell on the NFI for a hamstring. And then you got Drake Jackson, knee. You got Greenlaw, Achilles. I want to say Chiles.
I thought you were going to say, what's that? The dish with the chips?
I don't know, but
Chilaquiles?
Chilaquiles. Oh, Chilaquiles. Yeah, close enough. And then you got Talanoa Hufanga with the knee, right? Parcell landed on the NFI list since his injury occurred away from team facility. Lynch said, I think we feel pretty confident that he is in good place. Our thoughts is that he misses the first block and practices the second block. It is to be determined. The training camp staff will be the ones to determine if Parcell is ready. The first block of practice runs through this Saturday, so 4 practices. The team will have Sunday off, then the second block starts on Monday, which is generally the first day of pads. Shanahan said he was hopeful to have Parcell back for the second block. We shall see. See if he's able to come. So I want to ask you, Pete, I don't know how much extent you heard of his injury, his hamstring. Is it wise to keep him off the field until he starts feeling comfortable? Because for what I've heard, I never had a hamstring, and I pray that I never do, that I can remember at least. But I heard that those things can, if you don't take care of it right, it can linger all year long.
Yep. And I think that there's no rush. What are we doing? If you're confident, if I'm the team and you're confident that Brandon Ayuk is going to be in the building and that he's going to play, there's no reason to rush Ricky Pearsall. You better make sure that you don't want that hammy to turn into a tear. Because if it turns into a tear, then, I mean, we probably won't see him for the majority of the year. So let him rest, get completely healed up. And then the one thing about it, though, is that he's not going to have that first week with the vets. So if you're coming right into pads, what's going to end up happening is he's probably going to look a little – he's not going to be as explosive, I would say. And it's gonna, and people are going to, and if he's not as explosive on his first day, you're gonna hear the chirping of, oh, this is your first round pick and blah 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 blah. But I would
drama
say
that comes with it, bro.
Yeah, but I would say that people need to look at Ricky Pearsall as the cherry on top and not as the cupcake, because he is the guy that if they can integrate him into what they do, he could be a really nice piece in there. But it's really about BA and Debo this season. So they don't need to rush him. Long story short, they don't need to rush him. He can. They've got players.
Absolutely.
We don't want any lingering issues where if somebody else goes down and we need him later, he can step in. That's what we need him for. So It's I know people are going to want to see him early. You're not going to see him early. You're not. Like not early in the season, I wouldn't think, unless he just completely blows everybody's socks off in the preseason in training camp. Like, which the odds of a rookie wide receiver doing that is, with all the weapons that are on the field for the 49ers, is pretty slim. But I would love to see it. But yeah, I think it's a non-issue. I think that they're being precautious, which is exactly what they should be doing. I think they've learned from the guys in the past that they've rushed back, that there's literally no reason to rush him back.
Absolutely. And the fact is that, let's say worst case scenario, Ayuk does miss time. He's not happy. He doesn't want to play. He don't care if he gets fined, whatever the case may be. Then at that point, I can understand that Purcell will get more playing time, not because they want him to play, but because they need him to play. But if Ayuk does his part, he shows up and he plays, at the worst, he plays his fifth-year option. When you got Kittle, you got CMC, you got Jawan Jennings, you got Debo and Ayuk, there's no reason to have to go to Parcell as your go guy. He's, like you said, he's dessert, not the main course, the main meal. He's the one that you sprinkle on top certain situations and certain packages. You bring him in to kind of throw off the off defensive coordinator, because they look at the film, they're not familiar with him. So they'll have some packages for him. He will play. The fact that he's a first rounder, he'll get his opportunity. But if you expect him to come in and just replace Jawan Jennings and be that solid player, not that he can't be, but they're not going to rush him to do that. There's no need. You got players. You got skilled players at that position. Why not just have packages for him? Let him continue to learn this offense. Let him feel comfortable. And when he's ready to go, again, he was brought in for next year. They'll sprinkle him this year, but his main reason was for next year. We've seen it with Shanahan. Shanahan always drafts people for the following year. And so we shall see. Hopefully this hamstring is not something that will linger, because I do want him to develop. I do want him to get familiar with Brock Purdy. I don't want his development to be held back a year because of an injury. So therefore, I do pray that he's not as bad as we hope he's not, and he gets his opportunities. But this roster is stacked. We were number one last year for a reason. All right? We are stacked. We got our quarterback. Kyle finally feels comfortable with the quarterback that he has. He opened up the playbook. You got the skill position players. Yes, we have an offensive line that we are not all in agreement that, some of us are okay with it. Some of us can't stand it. Whatever spot you fall yourself at, we do have skilled players. They can move the ball down the field. We scored 30-plus points quite a bit last year. We made it to the Super Bowl. Fell short, but we got there. So I am confident that we can do this again. I want to build Parcells up slowly. So I'm with you, Pete. Bring him in slowly, sprinkle him in, and do not force him to be part of the roster when you don't need to.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Like, it's just, it is what it is.
So let's move on. Let's talk about the 6 Niner training camp battles to keep an eye on. This is where I think is going to be fun for us to have a conversation, Pete. We're going to break it down. Let me move this out of the way for a second. We're going to break it down by positions. I'm going to talk about, real quick, cornerbacks. I'm going to bring up...
Before you do, I do want to bring up one thing that they did bring up in the there was a clear omission of a person on PUP, which I thought I mentioned it on Twitter earlier today, but I think it was so important because I know that I was worried about it affecting the O-line, but Brendel was not on the PUP list.
No, you're right,
and that's huge. I don't think people understand how huge it is. As much as people want to kind of poo-poo Brendel, Like, I mean, he's been the starter for the last 2 seasons, and for him to not with when they were threatening basically that he had knee issues, I know I got worried, and because the continuity of the offensive line is something that we complain about on a regular basis already. So if you just take away our starting center, the continuity of that line is going to take time to gel again. And so I think that is a huge sign and a huge lift for the offensive line, that at least we can think that we're not going to take a step back.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought it up, Pete. Because whether you're a big fan or not of our center, he has played that position, and he's the best that we have right now, at least experience wise. We shall see through training camp if it changes, but the fact that he's going to be able to give it a go from day one, it is something good that we can definitely move on. All right, so let's talk about the 6 Niner training camp battles. And I really want to get your thoughts, Pete, on these. And I also want to get everyone in the chat. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Please write them in the chat. And let's talk about it a little bit. So the Niners don't have a ton of starting jobs up for grabs. We are loaded. But that doesn't mean there won't be battles to keep a close eye on in training camp. This isn't a complete list of all the completion happening for the roster spot. It is a list of battles we'll be watching closest. Let's start off with the cornerbacks. We can pencil in Charvarius Ward and Demo as the 2 starting corners. The third cornerback position is pretty much up for grabs with Emery Thomas, Darrell Luter Jr., Isaac Yadam, Rock Ya-Sin, and Renardo Green among the group of players vying for all important third cornerback place on the depth chart, which is apparently a starting job. So they are actually going to be competing for that job, whether they get the slot or if they feel they're comfortable with Demo playing at the slot, then they're going to be battling for the outside opposite of Charvarius Ward. But there is a spot available, and they will be competing. So out of the names that I mentioned, and I'll mention them again, Emery Thomas, Darrell Luter Jr., Isaac Yadam, Rock Ya-Sin, and Renardo Green. Out of those names, who do you feel comfortable or looking forward on taking that starting job, whether it's in the slot or whether it is outside, inside or outside? Not slot, but
for me, I'm looking at Isaac Yadam, the guy that we got from the Saints. He graded out well last year. From all reports, he's been a very solid player for them for years. So for a couple of years now. So I really look at Yadam as and he's a bigger corner. He's got size.
Yeah, I think 6'1".
And he's he's got the size. It's something that the 49ers, that the fans have been asking for from the 49ers for a long time. You play predominantly zone. And in a zone, you really kind of want those bigger corners so that you can be physical at the line. Charvarius Ward and Mooney Ward is known for being physical with his matchup. So it would be kind of nice to have 2 guys that are physical on the outside. Demo, I love Demo to death. He has to do a lot through technique because he doesn't have the size to be physical like that, and he gets his shots in here and there, but still, it's kind of rough for him to be physical. But I think that he's going to be predominantly on the other side of Charvarius Ward. I think he's going to be on that. I think Demo is going to be, and then on those obvious passing downs, I think he's going to slide into the slot, and they're going to let Yadam play that outside. That's the way I envision it, at least. I think that I think that when we look at the rest of these guys, we don't know what Darrell Luter is. We haven't really seen anything. We've heard that the 49ers like him, but he can't stay healthy. And Ambry Thomas, you know what you're getting with Ambry Thomas. He's gonna be he's gonna make a couple of good plays, and he's gonna make a whole bunch of boneheaded plays and get burnt like a ton, and get targeted. Then you've got Rocky Sin, a vet depth piece. That's the way I look at Rocky Sin. He's not going to be, to me, he's not a starter, but he is. He's going to be probably playing on special teams, and he's going to be. I think he's a valuable depth piece in case somebody goes down. Who else they got? Oh, and then I really think that the guys that are on the outside looking in that really need to have a great camp, and a great preseason is Ambry Thomas and Samuel Womack. Those two, they've got to show up and show out. If they do not show up and show out, they can forget it. They're not even going to be on the practice. I don't even see them being on the practice squad.
I forgot about Samuel Womack. Thank you for bringing him up.
It's just, the 49ers are just deep at that position. And I think they did it on purpose because they know that they're going to need Shavarius Ward. They're going to have to pay Shavarius Ward or Demo this coming season. They can't pay both. I think it's going to be so they've got to decide which one of these guys they can bring in at maybe a bargain for a couple of years, and that can be serviceable. And it would be in a perfect world, Darrell Luter would step up and be the guy that they envision, because he's cost control for the next couple of years. So, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I just think Ambry Thomas and Samuel Womack really need to get it together and show that they can be physical and that they can be good in coverage and be left by their lonesome sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. On first and foremost on Luter, I know a lot of us like him.
He's got tremendous size. Tremendous size, 6 feet.
Yeah.
6 feet, 190, I think. And then he's got, they said his paws, but they said he has huge hands. And and long arms. And that's the way, he's really perfect for what the 49ers do, but he's got to stay healthy.
But yeah, and again, but if you're not on the field because of ability to be healthy, that's a problem. We wanted to be able to showcase or see him showcase his ability of why the Niners drafted him. Listen, the guy Yadam that we brought in from New Orleans, he's a vet. He's decent. He had a good year with New Orleans back there. I expect him to really compete in the secondary and fight, and at the very least push Samuel Womack, push Ambry Thomas, and push Luter to be better portions of themselves. It's going to be hard. I feel that Ambry Thomas really is the guy furthest on the outside looking in, because he's played well, but then he's been burnt. They know his ceiling and floor right now, and this guy's going to have to show out. He cannot afford, in my opinion, he cannot afford any mess ups. He cannot afford to screw up in any shape, way, or form. He needs to impress the coaches, because previous years, there was really no competition in that spot. So he, by default, won a spot on the 53. That's not the case this year. That is not the case. That's why they brought in the free agents they brought in. They drafted a corner in the late second round. They have not done that since Shanahan and John Lynch has been here. So that they're looking to move forward. So Ambry Thomas has to show up and show out. Even if he does good, he still may not make the roster, Pete. He needs to be better than good. he needs to make sure everything thrown his way either is intercepted or blocked. Is that hard to put on him? Yes. But unfortunately, that's what he's going to have to do in training camp. If he lets any interceptions get away from him, or if he gets burnt by receivers, especially if he's on Purcell and Purcell burns him, his chances of making this roster are going to be tough, Pete. Is there anything you want to mention more about the corners, or can we move on to the right guard?
I'm trying to think of the corner. I really want to, the one thing because I don't want to brush across Mooney Ward. I think that everybody gets caught up in the depth of the 49ers corners that Mooney Ward sometimes is just an afterthought. We just kind of look at him over there and he's going to have his spot. So there's no reason to talk about it. This man deserves to be he has been beyond solid. He is now considered one of the top 5 corners in the league. He's been on those type of lists. And I just want to give that man his respect, because when he came to the 49ers, people were kind of with him. And I know I was one of the ones. I didn't know how he was going to fit because the 49ers run primarily zone, and he didn't grade out tremendously well in zone. But he fit right into this defense. And he has just routinely taken out the other team's best receiver. And especially when they're a bigger receiver, because he can get physical. I just want to give that man his flowers. It's going to, I know it's going to be a very difficult decision for the 49ers after the season.
We're going to be having definitely some conversations next off season. And there's going to be a lot of drama with it, that comes with that. Whether they keep them or they don't, whether they can afford them or they don't afford them. But you're right. When he was brought in as a free agent from Kansas City, he was very underrated, in my opinion. I saw a lot of potential in him, and he came in here and he balled out. And he's, I think, out of the corners, I think he was, what was he, third best corner of all the corners last year? I mean, the guy's a freak. Now, Lenore's coming up as well. He's younger. That's going to be a crazy conversation to have. It's going to be interesting to see what the Niners front office does. But that is definitely something that we don't, at least for the moment, don't have to worry about until next offseason. We're going to have definitely in the next offseason to talk about that, especially with the Brock Purdy. And the next offseason is going to be interesting, to say the least. Sure. But this year, we got Charvarius Ward going in. If you want to think of it as contract year, right? So he's going to ball out. Let's say he does, as long as he doesn't get hurt, he's going to. Whether he does it for this team or he does it for
that into existence.
Another team, right. And then Lenore, same thing with Lenore. So these guys are going to battle it out. They're going to play, and they're going to do their thing. So I'm excited for training camp. I'm excited to see what they're doing back there. By the way, I'm going to be at training camp so if you guys want us to come and say hi to me, I'm going to be at training camp on August the 3rd, which is a Saturday. August the 3rd, I will be at training camp scoping up the Niners. So if you want to say hi to Niners Sickness, feel free. I'm a big boy. It's not like you're not going to be able to see me amongst the crowd. So if you don't see me, bro, I don't know what you're doing at the camp. But I'll be there. So if you want to say hi, I would love to say and meet you in person for those that will be there at training camp on August the 3rd. All right, so let's move on to the right guard. Shoring up the offensive line is once again a priority for the Niners to in training camp. Last year, Spencer Burford was handed the right guard spot with no real competition. This year, he's on the outside looking in, competition with veteran John Feliciano, third-round pick Dominic Pooney, and Ben Barch, all in the mix as well. Pooney may not get starter reps right away, but he should be making a push for them sooner rather than later. there's a ton of competition here. So this battle should be a fun one to watch. Out of the guys that I mentioned, who do you think has a better chance to compete and earn that right guard position, in your opinion, Pete?
I mean, I think it's going to be the guy that took over the starting position last year. It's going to end up being John Feliciano. As long as once I saw that Brindle's no longer in the PUP, if he can stay healthy, then Feliciano, I think he's just the better player at right guard. Unfortunately for blanking on his name now, Spencer Burford.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Unfortunately for Spencer Burford, like Feliciano he's just better. I mean, Burford is just inconsistent. He has games and snaps where he looks really good, and then there's other snaps where he doesn't look so good. And I really think that they need to, because the 49ers talk about versatility all the time. Well, this is a perfect opportunity in camp for them to let this guy try another position. Like, because they didn't draft him to be the backup for Feliciano. They wanted him to eventually solidify that right guard spot. And who knows, they might have envisioned him because he has the arm length and the athleticism to play on the outside and play on that tackle spot.
We're talking about Pooney?
No, I'm talking about Burford.
Oh, Burford. Okay.
Like, I'm talking about Burford. I talked a little bit about Burford just because I feel like they need to do something with him. They need to at least try something, because I do think he has talent. I just think that he's struggling to find consistency, and maybe he can find consistency if he's allowed to use his athleticism on the outside. And
I agree.
And but as far as Pooney goes, I think he's the long term. We don't know what Pooney was drafted for, because shout out to Locked On with Croc and BD Peacock the other day, but they were talking about how, Aaron Banks, we're talking about contracts again, but Aaron Banks is up for his contract this offseason too. So who knows if Pooney might have been drafted to be Aaron Banks' replacement.
That's a possibility.
And so I don't necessarily, and they really do not like to put rookies out there on the offensive line. I think Burford was out of necessity at the time, and even then, they didn't want to leave him out there by himself. They had him platooning with Daniel Brunskill in his rookie year. So I look at it as it's Feliciano is going to be at that right guard spot. I think the offensive line, there's not really going to be much change from what it was last season. I know people want Pooney to make an impact. I just don't think that a rookie is going to make that big of an impact in a Shanahan offense. Like Shanny just doesn't like change unless he's forced to. So
not Shanahan.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, he likes to go with what he's familiar with. And I mean, I know a lot of us, we criticize him for this or that, but listen, it's his neck on the line, not ours. He likes to go with, he likes to go with people that he's familiar with and knows it doesn't make dumb mistakes. And rookies, as good as they are rookies. They will make mistakes because of being a rookie. And a lot of times those mistakes can be at a very costly moment where it can cost you a playoff game or to bounce out in the first game of the playoffs, the first round. So real quick, I just want to welcome those that have been popping in late. We got Bebop in the house. What's up, Bebop? Chris Henson's in the house. What's up? We got William Roberts in the house. Momo Martin popped in. What's up, Momo? We got, let's see here. Make sure I don't leave nobody behind. We got JD Burnham on the house. What's up, brother? We got Val Ramos in the house. What's up, Val? We got Andrew Martinez. Andrew Martinez is in the house. What's up, brother? Welcome to the chat. So, I'm with you. I think that Feliciano is the clear-cut guy. It's his job to lose at that guard position. I think he'll be going into it as the starter, and then they'll compete for that position, and it'll be up to him whether he keeps it or loses it based on the competition. But it is definitely something that is going to be fun to watch.
Hey, can we mention the other guard that they got, like that has to be mentioned and has to be in the mix as well?
The sixth round guy,
the other rookie.
Yeah, Jarrett Kinley, or
Yeah,
Kinley,
let me look at it.
Can't think of his name.
Yeah, I just want to get his name right. His name
from USC.
Yeah, Jarrett Kingston.
Jerry Kingston, something like that.
6'4", 305. Really athletic. Like at least short area quickness. And I mean, he just has short arms, he's going to be a guard. But that could be the eventual replacement for Aaron Banks as well. So we don't know. Like, I think that the 49ers got two pretty decent. I think we're going to hear some things about Jarrett Kingston in this.
Okay.
I think that they drafted him for a reason, and I don't think that it was just kind of a throwaway pick. I think that he graded well, from an athletic standpoint, and honestly, if you look at a lot of the guys that graded like they did, he did, they end up being pretty decent players. Regardless of what team that they're on, when you test out that well. As far from a short area quickness for a big guy like that, especially in a Shanahan system, I think that he could end up being a nice piece. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on him in training camp because obviously he's not going to get a lot of publicity. Pooney's going to be the one with the publicity.
Oh, absolutely.
But don't be surprised if all of a sudden you start hearing about Kingston. Because I've heard he plays with some good technique. And a lot of people kind of like him. So we'll see.
Interesting. All right. So let's move on over to the right tackle, Mr. McKivitz. There may not actually be a competition here. Colton McKivitz is in line for the starting job. Boo. After getting it without any real competition a season ago. Now he'll be chased by veteran Brandon Parker and Chris Herbert. And don't sleep on Pooney as a potential offensive tackle candidate after playing there in college. The Niners may not have a plan to unseat McKivitz, but there's more well-equipped to actually have a battle at the right tackle this year if McKivitz struggles. Now, I saw you shaking your head when Pooney was brought up as a potential tackle. Let's start there. Why did your head go left and right when you heard that?
He just doesn't have to me, he doesn't have the quickness to be a tackle, and he doesn't have the arm length. And people might poo-poo the arm length stuff, but it's just a fact. And that guys that McKivitz has short arms for a tackle. And you could say, and people can say, oh, well, it doesn't have anything to do with his arm length, the reason why people don't like him. But it plays a part. They've got to be able to get they've got to be able to have reach and get their hands on. It's got to help their athleticism. They got to help their athleticism out. So because they're going up against the most athletic person on the defense. In these defensive ends, today's defensive ends are ridiculous athletes.
Yeah.
So they've got to be able to get hands on, and that's how you've got to have long arms. You just got to. It's got to be 34 inch plus. So, I just don't think Pooney's gonna be a tackle. I do think that it was nice that they brought in Hubbard and Brandon Parker to push McKivitz. Because I think that's always a possibility. I mean, I don't think that there's far to go from McKivitz. Let's say that. I don't think that there's many guys out there that could not push McKivitz. So just getting some verifiable NFL talent in the building to push him, I think is a good thing. And they honestly, I don't think it would take much to surpass.
At the very least, Pete, they can push him to be better, right? For him
Exactly.
to hone in his ability to block.
Or if he goes down, there's like zero follow.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. Yeah, that's what's worse than having McKiv as a starter, not having him, and nobody behind him to step up. So, and the grass is not always green on the other side, even if it looks that way sometimes. So, yeah, I didn't bring up center. I know that Bebop mentioned the kid from Michigan, your favorite college from there, my friend. Nugent
Go Blue.
or go. Yeah, I was going to say that with you, but no. Whatever.
Just
But
threw up in your mouth a little bit, huh?
yeah, it almost slipped out. I'm like, I was going to get the hatchet on my back of my head right now by the Seminoles for saying that. But that is the offensive line. I didn't mention the left side. Right now, Banks is there and Trent Williams. And like you said, Banks will be somebody we're going to talk about the next offseason. So I did not bring up. There's really no competition there. Those are the two starters on that side of the ball. And right now, let's be honest, Brendo, long as he's healthy, he's pretty much your starter at center. I don't see nobody unseating him right now. So the reason why I brought up the right guard and the right tackle, because to me, in my personal belief, those are the two areas that it's going to be competition in, that is legitimately competition to see who gets those spots.
Yeah, and honestly, Nugent isn't going to be a starter. Like, let's just. I know people are get excited because they hear that he's because he was good at Michigan, but he's small. He's smaller than Brindle, and he is not. He is going to be. I think he's going to be a serviceable backup, but that's the extent of it. I think that he could probably cover for a game or two, but if he is not a long-term starter, in my opinion, I would be shocked if that happened. Just because, he's small.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say that my feelings just got hurt right now, bro.
What?
David McNiner just came in and hurt my feelings.
Oh yeah, he just said hi to me and didn't say anything. To
yeah,
you.
it's like, hello. You don't see me,
Hello,
buddy?
I'm here.
That's my boy. I love David McNiner. He's like, what's good, Pete? Let's effing go Niners. And I'm like, where's the fat guy at? No love for the big boy. I see how it is, David. I see how it is. Nah, David's my boy, man. He is my. And then he says, then he does mention me, but then he puts V instead of B. Is Veto not? I'm like, you don't mention my name the first time, then you misspell it, bro. Come on. Yeah. I am not feeling it today, bro. I know. He knows I'm messing with him. David McNiner, man, that guy is a genuine, amazing dude. Him and Bryant Cope, those two guys are amazing. Met them in person, man. Unfortunately, I met them in the sense that we were visiting, and with the late Corey Davis. Rest in peace, my friend. Love that guy. We went and we hanged out in San Francisco and Richmond. I think we went to go have breakfast. So it was cool. And I'm trying to forget the other kid that was with us that I can't think of his name. What is his name? He lives in San Francisco. Oh my goodness. If he watches this video, I'm in trouble. But I want to acknowledge Tim Diaz in the house coming in, David McNiner popping in. So let's move on. We're getting close to that hour, bro, and I do want to keep you no longer than an hour, bro, because I want your wife to allow you to play each week. Yeah. And if I keep messing up, I will lose those privileges. So let's not do that. So let's move on quickly. I'm going to talk real quick about the quarterbacks, the backup to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. It's nice that there's no real question about the Niners starting signal. It's not like last year, right? We know who our starter is this year. our single caller this year. Although there are questions about who will back up Brock Purdy in San Francisco. The problem under center last season, there was no problem under center of losing a player. Brock Purdy played all year, which was amazing. But listen, every year you play football, there's a chance you can get hurt. If he does, knock on wood, he doesn't. But if he does misses a game or two, who can step up, play at the best at their ability, and keep this team going in the right direction while Brock gets back? Is it Josh Dobbs or is it Allen? Which of those two, or Malachi, the undrafted kid? Which
I was about to say, you're
three?
about to disrespect Tanner Mordecai.
No, I got it. Well, I mispronounced his name, but I brought him up, even though I messed it up. So out of those three guys, who do you feel they can compete for that second QB2 and then QB3?
Man. I mean, I know that Josh Dobbs was brought here to be the number 2. We know that. But the 49ers, Shanahan really likes Brandon Allen. People can think what they want to about Brandon Allen. And they probably thought the same thing about Brock Purdy when Brock Purdy came in. But Shanahan really likes Brandon Allen. So it would not shock me if he ended up being number 2 and Josh Dobbs ended up being number 3. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I think that Josh Dobbs is a smart guy. I think that he's going to end up being the number 2, and Brandon Allen will end up being the number 3. And then I think Tanner Mordecai will end up being on the practice squad. But yeah, I like Josh Dobbs. I don't know why people are so down. I don't know why teams just keep giving up on him. He just goes and plays solid. He gets put into bad situations after bad situation.
Yeah.
And no training camps, no nothing. And he has to come in cold and still ends up just playing decent.
Yep.
So
he went from Arizona to Minnesota, and I think that same week that he was traded, he ended up
having to start
because the other guy got hurt, and he actually won that game, if I'm not mistaken. And so now we're not talking about Dobbs as a starter for half of the season. We're not saying that. What we are saying is, if Brock, God forbid, goes down for a game or two, I think I'm confident in Dobbs to be able to pull out a win in a game or two while Brock comes back, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is that I think he can give you at least a couple of games, and at the very least, he could be a change-up because he is bigger guy with a bigger arm than Brock Purdy has, and he's shown he can make throws, and he's got a little bit of athleticism. So it wouldn't surprise me if he. I like that they got him in early, and that it wasn't like last year where they just picked him up in the middle of a week or something. But yeah, I think I like Josh Dobbs. I think that was a really good pickup by them. And Brandon Allen, I don't have anything against Brandon Allen. I'll be honest. If Shanny's got confidence in him, that means that he can at the very least he can run the offense. So I wouldn't be shocked if either one of those guys came in and just made some throws, did enough to get a win.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's finish up with because we hit about the hour mark. Let's finish up real quick with the wide receivers. There are layers. There are layers to the wide receiving battles happening all over the depth chart for now. We'll focus on the race between rookie first-round Ricky Parcell and Juwan Jennings for the number 3 spot snaps. They both play such different roles that we may ultimately see them split sometime. Brandon Ayuk looming contract situation and potential absence turns that battle into something a little bit more. Though if Ayuk is traded or if he doesn't return in time for week 1, The battle now becomes for receiver number 2 spot, where it's less likely Purcell and Jawan Jennings will split time. If worst case scenario, Ayuk doesn't play week 1, who do you see as number 2, Jawan Jennings or Purcell?
I mean, based on what they can do, I think that at that point it would be a platoon situation. I think that Shanny would probably be moving these guys all over the place. On some downs, it would be Jawan Jennings because when Debo went down, Jawan Jennings got a lot of those snaps, and so it wouldn't surprise me if Jawan Jennings got a lot of the snaps. But I think Pearsall at that point would be in the mix heavily as long as he's healthy. I think he's going to be heavily in the mix and probably playing mostly that slot spot and let Jennings play on the outside because he can block. So yeah, I just think it's going to be a platoon situation dependent on the situation and what the play is called. Because yeah, Shanny's going to scheme guys open, and he wants certain guys in certain spots. So yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of everything.
I love it. I'm excited, guys, for training camp. I'm fired up. Like I said, I'm going to be there on August 3rd, which is a Saturday. So if you guys are going to training camp this year and you happen to go on Saturday, August 3rd, and you see me, make sure to come up to me and say hi. I would love to meet you and say hello. It's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing with my own eyes what this team looks like in training camp. I'm excited to meet some people there as well. I don't know about you, Pete. I'm excited to see these battles. I want to see the battles, and I mentioned it today because I didn't have tons of week. Maybe we can. I was going to talk about the Sam linebackers and then the safeties, but we can do that next week. Hufanga Hufanga is going to start on the PUP list. That's going to give an opportunity for the young kid, Malak Mustafa, an opportunity to go with the ones to kind of get a test of what he can do with Jair Brown. So I'll be interested to see just how he kind of adapts to that spot. Started training camp.
Don't sleep on Taylor Hawkins either.
Taylor Hawkins, yeah, true. There's a lot of competition there. He's been with us for the last 3 years, trying to break himself in. This might be the third year must be a charm. So we'll see. Pete, it is always a pleasure having you on, bro, as my co-host. Brandon is always with us as well, but he had to work late or has a girlfriend that won't let him talk on with us, or one or the other. But I love Brandon. He's definitely was missed here. But everyone that popped in, man, you guys are amazing. You guys are the true
Chat is on fire.
True MVPs. So let me give you guys a hand of applause.
Yeah, you guys on fire. You guys killed it.
Yeah, they're always killing it, brother. So look forward to seeing us again next Tuesday at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Central, and 8:30 Eastern Time every Tuesday at evening. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. Pete, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you, buddy. You have a wonderful day as well. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Yep. Peace.
Go Niners.
We're out of here.